this.
But first, in just a few hours, the only pirate to survive a run-in with the U.S. Navy will face a judge in New York City. We're getting word that the teenager will be charged under 2 federal laws dealing with piracy and hostage-taking, and he'll be the first person tried for piracy in this country in more than 100 years. So will that, and his age, which is a little unclear actually, make it hard to get a conviction in this case? Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Randy Zellin and George Washington University law professor Lawton Cummings. It's nice to see both of you. Let me start with you, Professor, and let's talk about, I guess precedent. As we just said in the intro, it's been about 100 years since anybody's been tried for something like this in this country. So what will the judge be able to use as far as sort of coming up with some decisions here?
Well, while there is some complicated weave of international law that may apply, basically, if a U.S. flagship is attacked in international waters for private purposes, for money, like as in this case, then the FBI has jurisdiction to investigate, and he can be tried in a federal district court in the U.S.
And what about his age? And let me just stay with you for a moment, because that is a question. Originally we heard that he may be as young as 14, 15, 16 years old, but perhaps he's a little bit older than that. How is the court going to really be able to verify how old he is so that they know how he should be treated?
Well, it's going to be complicated to verify because, as we all know, the Somali government is in disarray. If he is, in fact, under 18, he may be entitled to some additional protections under international law. However, the U.S. government must have been told that he's 18 or older to be bringing him to the federal district court today. My guess is that he told them he's 18 or older.
Wow. Let's talk with the criminal defense attorney here, Randy Zellin. First of all, is this a case that you would want, Randy?
Well, look, you have to now take your citizen hat off and put your lawyer hat on. As a defense lawyer, the first question I say is, why is this kid here? We just cut a deal back in January of this year with Kenya, where we agreed we were going to take suspected pirates where stuff happened over there, and they would be dealt with by the Kenyan authorities. There is a transitional government in Somalia. Give them a chance to show the world they want to do the right thing. Bring this kid over here. Give him the protections of a United States courtroom. First of all, how is he going to assist in his defense? Do we even know that what he did was a crime here? Does he understand that it was a crime? It's a nightmare. He should be prosecuted where this happened.
Try him in Somalia. I mean, this is a failed state. This is not exactly the kind of place where we would like to see him get some kind of legal remedy to what happened there. Professor,
give him a shot. Hold
on one second, Professor.
It's laughable.
Bringing him here? This is really the best chance for us to get justice for Captain Phillips and for that American crew that he and his comrades attacked.
You darn right. And we need to send a message to the rest of the pirates out there. We need to send 2 messages. One to the world, that when someone is tried in the U.S. District Court, that they will be entitled to adequate defense protections, which I believe he will be afforded. However, the second message we need to send to the world is don't mess with the U.S. If these pirates attack us, we're going to take them back to the U.S. and try them under U.S. law.
Randy, this is not a kid who was picked out of a pirate lineup. This is a kid who was out on the high seas in the middle of engaging in piracy. He basically turned himself over to the U.S. authorities there so that he could get treatment, medical treatment for a cut that he sustained on his hand. He basically gave himself up.
Well, look, let's work backwards. First of all, we don't know what happened. We weren't there. So we don't know what this kid was even doing. Being at a crime scene is not a crime. It's participation. So we don't know what this kid's level of participation was. We don't know if he was acting under duress. We don't even know if he knew why he was there. But I have to say something. If we think for 1 second that the Somalians are going to be deterred by giving this kid a fair trial, that's nuts. The pirates are not going to be deterred. And if we think that this kid's going to get a fair trial, who in New York doesn't know what happened? This kid's going to be presumed innocent? No way.
Professor, I guess this is what makes Randy Zellin such a good criminal defense attorney. You want to take a crack at this and talk about a fair trial? Is he going to get a jury of his peers? And does that mean we have to bring in a bunch of pirates?
he will get a fair trial. And in fact, there's defense lawyers all over the country chomping at the bit to represent this guy. I mean, they want to argue things like he was engaged in a public purpose and waving a white flag, which is ridiculous. He was engaged in piracy, trying to make money. Even his own mother and father have said so. So, and it is a crime to be, he wasn't just on the scene, he was engaged in a conspiracy. So, in fact, under U.S. law, he's just as liable as the rest of them.
And he had a hostage. Captain Phillips was there with him, being held by him and his fellow pirates, Lawton Cummings, Randy Zellen. Very interesting discussion. Of course,
thank you very much.
He has a court date down in Lower Manhattan today, so we'll watch out for that. But thanks both for coming on.